Have you ever finished a meal and then felt like your brain just hit a dimmer switch? You're not lazy, and it's not just in your head. For a lot of people, that weak, heavy, sleepy feeling after eating is a predictable body response. It can come from how fast your blood sugar rises and falls, how your nervous system shifts into rest and digest, and how blood flow gets redirected toward your gut. The size of the meal matters too, and so does what's on the plate. Even the time of day and how you slept can change the effect. In this video, you'll learn the most common reasons for a post-meal slump and how to test which one is happening to you. We'll keep it practical, with small changes you can try without turning your life upside down. And we'll also cover a few red flags, because sometimes fatigue after meals is a sign to get checked out. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 2. First, let's define the post-meal slump in plain terms. It's that drop in energy, focus, or physical strength within about 30 minutes to a couple of hours after eating. Some people feel sleepy, others feel shaky, foggy, or weirdly anxious, and some feel a heavy body sensation like their limbs are made of sand. The key point is that different mechanisms can create the same feeling. That's why one person fixes it by changing breakfast, while another fixes it by eating slower or reducing alcohol at lunch. Also, a slump isn't automatically bad. After eating, your body is supposed to shift resources toward digestion. The problem is when that shift is so strong that it disrupts your work, driving, workouts, or mood. So as we go, listen for your pattern. When it hits, what meals trigger it, and whether it feels like sleepiness, weakness, or shakiness. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 3. One of the biggest drivers is blood sugar dynamics. When you eat a carb-heavy meal, especially refined carbs, glucose can rise quickly. Your body responds by releasing insulin to move that glucose into cells. For some people, that response overshoots and blood sugar drops faster than expected. You might not reach true low blood sugar, but the rapid fall can still feel like fatigue, weakness, irritability, or brain fog. This is often called a glucose spike and crash pattern. It's more likely when the meal is mostly starch or sugar and low in protein, fiber, and healthy fats. It can also show up when you've skipped meals and then eat a large, fast-digested lunch. A practical test is to notice if the slump is strongest after things like white rice, pasta, pastries, sweet drinks, or big bowls of cereal. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 4. Even without a big sugar crash, insulin itself can change how you feel. Insulin doesn't just manage glucose. It also influences how your body handles amino acids, and that can affect brain chemistry. After a higher carb meal, the balance of amino acids in your blood can shift in a way that supports more tryptophan entering the brain. Tryptophan is a building block for serotonin, and serotonin is linked with calm and sleepiness in some contexts. This doesn't mean carbs knock everyone out. It means some people are more sensitive to the calming, sedating side of a carb-heavy meal. This is why you might feel fine after a balanced bowl with chicken and vegetables, but sleepy after a big plate of pasta and bread. The takeaway is not to fear carbs. It's to pair them with protein and fiber so the whole response is smoother. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 5. Another major factor is your autonomic nervous system, which has two main modes, fight or flight, and rest and digest. Eating naturally pushes you toward rest and digest. Your gut starts working, hormones shift, and your body prioritizes processing food. If you're already stressed, underslept, or running on caffeine, that shift can feel dramatic, almost like you suddenly ran out of battery. Some people also experience a vagal response, where the vagus nerve activity increases during digestion. That can be calming, but in sensitive cases, it can come with lightheadedness, nausea, or a washed-out feeling. This is also why eating very quickly can make things worse. You're stacking mechanical stomach stretch, rapid hormone changes, and a strong nervous system shift all at once. Slowing down is not a cliché here. It's a real lever. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 6. Meal size matters more than most people think. A large meal requires more digestive work. Your stomach stretches, your intestines move more, and you release more digestive hormones. Blood flow is also redistributed toward the gastrointestinal tract. That doesn't mean your brain is deprived, but it can contribute to that heavy, low-energy feeling, especially if you're sitting still afterward. High-fat meals can add another layer because fat slows stomach emptying. That can be great for stable energy in some people, but if the meal is very large and very fatty, it can feel like a brick in your stomach and lead to sluggishness. A simple experiment is to keep the same foods, but reduce the portion at lunch by 20 to 30% for a week, or split lunch into 2 smaller meals. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 7. Let's talk about the specific foods that commonly trigger a slump. The first is refined carbohydrates, especially when they're eaten alone. The second is sugary drinks, because liquid sugar is absorbed fast and can create a sharper spike. The third is alcohol at lunch or even a small drink with food. Alcohol can make you drowsy directly, and it can worsen sleep later, which sets you up for a worse slump the next day. The fourth is very salty, highly processed meals, which can leave you feeling puffy and tired, especially if you're not well hydrated. And the fifth is meals that are low in micronutrients, low in iron-rich foods, low in magnesium sources, low in overall protein because you may be running on a thinner nutritional margin than you realize. The goal isn't perfection, it's spotting your top 1 or 2 triggers. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 8. There's also a timing effect that people miss. Your body has a natural circadian dip in alertness in the early afternoon. If you eat a heavy lunch right on top of that dip, the slump feels twice as strong. On the other hand, if you're someone who skips breakfast, your lunch becomes the first big glucose and insulin event of the day, and the swing can be bigger. Sleep debt matters too. When you're underslept, your glucose handling often gets worse, and your appetite signals change, so you crave faster carbs. That combination can create a cycle. Poor sleep, carbier lunch, bigger slump, more caffeine, worse sleep. A helpful approach is to treat the slump like a systems problem. Look at sleep, meal timing, and caffeine timing together, not as separate issues. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 9. Now for practical fixes you can try, starting with the easiest. Build a steady energy plate. Aim for protein first, and fiber, then carbs. Protein can be eggs, yogurt, fish, chicken, tofu, beans, or lean meat. Fiber comes from vegetables, legumes, berries, and whole grains. Then choose carbs that digest slower, like oats, quinoa, potatoes with the skin, or whole fruit instead of juice. If you want dessert, try having it after a balanced meal rather than on an empty stomach. Second, add a short walk after eating. Even 10 minutes of easy movement can blunt a glucose spike and reduce sleepiness for many people. Third, slow the meal down. Give your body time to register fullness and avoid that sudden dump of food into digestion. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 10. If your slump feels more like shakiness, sweating, anxiety, or sudden hunger, pay attention to reactive hypoglycemia patterns. Again, that doesn't mean you have diabetes, and it doesn't mean your blood sugar is dangerously low. It means your body may be sensitive to rapid changes. In that case, the most effective strategy is often reducing the speed of absorption. That can mean swapping juice for whole fruit, adding protein to snacks, and avoiding naked carbs like plain crackers or a pastry by itself. It can also mean distributing carbs more evenly across the day instead of one giant hit at lunch. Some people do better with a slightly smaller breakfast and a more balanced lunch. If these symptoms are frequent, intense, or new, it's worth discussing with a clinician because blood sugar issues have multiple causes. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 11. Sometimes the slump is less about food and more about underlying physiology. Iron deficiency can make you feel wiped out in general, and meals may just be the moment you notice it. Thyroid issues can affect energy and digestion. Sleep apnea can create relentless daytime fatigue that shows up strongly after meals, and certain gastrointestinal conditions can make digestion itself exhausting. There are also food sensitivities and intolerances. Those don't usually cause immediate sleepiness alone, but they can cause bloating, discomfort, and fatigue that you interpret as food coma. Red flags include fainting, chest pain, severe dizziness, unintentional weight loss, black or bloody stools, or symptoms that rapidly worsen. Another flag is if you regularly feel so sleepy after eating that it feels unsafe to drive. That's not something to push through. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 12. Here's a simple way to figure out your personal cause without guessing. For 1 week, keep a quick slump log. Write down the mealtime, what you ate, and rate your energy 60 and 120 minutes later from 1 to 10. Also note sleep quality and caffeine. Then run 2 experiments. Experiment 1. Keep the same lunch, but add 25 to 30 grams of protein and a high-fiber side, like beans or a big salad. Experiment 2. Keep the same foods but reduce the portion and take a 10-minute walk afterward. If one of these changes cuts the slump in half, you've found a major lever. If nothing changes, that's useful too, because it suggests you should look at sleep, stress, or medical factors rather than endlessly tweaking macros. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Moving to slide 13. Let's wrap this up into a clean mental checklist. If you feel sleepy and heavy, think meal size, meal speed, and the rest and digest shift. If you feel foggy and irritable, think glucose spike and crash, especially after refined carbs. If you feel shaky or anxious, think rapid blood sugar changes and try slowing absorption with protein and fiber. If it happens no matter what you eat, think sleep quality, circadian timing, and possible underlying issues worth discussing with a professional. The goal isn't to eliminate every dip. It's to avoid the kind of slump that disrupts your day. If you want more videos like this, subscribe once so you don't miss the next one. And for a quick check-in, comment below. Do you slump more after a carb-heavy meal or after a large meal, A or B?